Welcome to Isadora Tutorial 6. This tutorial has two parts. So now that we've gotten a basic handle on effects, we want to start being able to do more sophisticated things in time. And again, to do this, I want to create a new scene. So I'm going to click to the right of the last scene we have on the list, go to the Scenes menu, and choose Insert Scene. And again, movie player, and a projector. We're not going to use any effects at this moment. We're just going to hook this up directly. So movie player and projector, and let's choose movie number 1. So we've got the Bubbles movie playing, yeah? Let's also rename this scene right away, and we'll call this Time. So I want you to go to group number 4, which we've not been to yet, which is the generators group. There's only a few actors in here, but they're very powerful and very important for getting sophisticated with using Isadora. I'm going to start with the envelope generator. Contrary to its name, this has nothing to do with the post office. This comes from my musical training because we use these all the time inside of musical synthesizers. Perhaps the name should have best been given it would be ramp generator, because it allows you to go from one number to another number over a specified period of time smoothly. It's kind of like a mouse watcher, except that you can be very precise about where it starts and where it ends and how long it takes to get there. This has a trigger input like we saw before inside of the jump actor, but this one causes a different action, of course. I'm going to try the envelope generator out by simply clicking on the little dash to the left of the word trigger. And what I want you to watch when I do that is the area here where you see this diagonal line and the output. So here we go. I'm going to click on the trigger and activate it. And what you see is, you see the little yellow line go across and the numbers go from 0 to 100. So in other words, it's just counting at a specified rate, and it starts at this value, value 0. And the ending value is specified here, value 1. And the amount of time that it takes to get there is specified by rate 1. Now I'm going to change that to 8 seconds by typing the number 8 here. And now I'm going to trigger it again, and you can take a closer look, I think, because you'll have more time, the way that the line is moving across and the values are changing gradually from 0 to 100 at the output. So there's a number of uses for this actor, but let's start with a simple one. Let's say that at a certain point in the scene you want to fade the clip in. It's already there waiting, but an actor takes a certain line or somebody else has a cue and you want to bring the clip in at just that moment. So I take the envelope generator's output and I connect that to the intensity input of the projector. And to go with that, because we're going to want to use some kind of sensor, and again we're going to use the mouse and keyboard, I click on the mouse and keyboard group in the toolbox and I get a keyboard watcher. Now in this case I'm going to use small letter A. So remembering our keyboard watcher, we have to enclose the value we want to use, or the letter, in single quotes. So I click on the key range input, I type single quote, small letter A, single quote, and hit enter. So now I can connect the output of the keyboard watcher to the trigger input of the envelope generator, and when I press the letter A, the image gradually fades in over 8 seconds. Another example is that perhaps you want it to fade in briefly and fade out and be gone. Now the way to do that is that you can change the number of segments in the envelope generator. Right now we have one segment. It starts here and it goes to here. But if I change the number of segments to 2 and hit enter, the actor actually grows. It actually has 2 more inputs than it had before, rate 2 and value 2. So now the entire path is like a small pyramid here. We're going from value 0, which is 0, over 8 seconds to 100, which is the end of segment 1. And then in 1 second, we're going to go from 100 down to 0, which is the final value. So if I try this one again, it's the same as it was before. It's taking 8 seconds to fade in, but then when it gets to the second segment, it fades out quite quickly. So that's one way of making use of the envelope generator. But you can also change the modes in which it works, and the most important thing about this is changing to the mode called 1/end. What this means now is that instead of doing the entire envelope, because before it was set to all, Now, each time you trigger it, it only does one segment. So if I hit the letter A, it's going to slowly do its ramp up from 0 to 100. But then when it gets to the end of segment 1, it stops and it's waiting now. And now the video is still visible until I hit letter A again, and then it fades out in 1 second. So the ability to either choose to do the entire envelope completely without stopping, or to have individual triggers to do each segment is also quite powerful. So let's say that that's really perfect. We're happy with that. We want to add one more thing to this. We want to add a moving line that goes across the screen. So I'm now going to add a new actor that we haven't seen yet called Shapes. And I'm going to add another projector. If I hook this up directly, we see a square in the center of the stage. It's specified as 25% of the width of the stage and 25% of the height. Okay? But if I want to make a line, what we're going to want to do is make the height 100, so it's actually as tall as the stage. And I'm going to change the width to something quite a bit less. Let's choose maybe 3. Okay? So we've got this line, and our goal is to get it to move from one side to the other. Notice that there's an input on the Shapes actor called horizontal position. If I just click on that with the mouse and move it left or right, you can see that I can make the line move left and right. So that seems like a great way to do it. Let's get a way to make the horizontal position change so that I make the line go across the screen. And again, the obvious choice is the envelope generator. So I click on group number 4 and get a new envelope generator. I'll just copy and paste this keyboard watcher here, and I'm going to change the key range input from A to S, so single quote S single quote. I've got this envelope generator ready, and now I connect this into the horizontal position. And again, our goal is to get it to start on the left side of the stage and go all the way to the right. So here I go. I'm going to hit letter S. Okay, well that was really quick, so maybe we should choose a slower rate. Let's try 10 seconds instead. So ready, I'm going to hit the letter S again. Now, as you might kind of see, there's a problem. We're waiting, and there it finally appears, and then it goes off the screen. Well, why is that? Well, the thing is, the Shapes actor actually has a range bigger than 0 to 100. Now, how do we figure that out? Well, if you point the cursor at any input, you can get some information about that input. And what you'll notice there is that it has a minimum of minus 200 and a maximum of 200 or plus 200. So basically 0 is here in the center of the stage. Minus 100, if we consider look at how big the stage is, if I move my cursor over that much, I'm somewhere about here. And if I go to minus 200, I'm somewhere over here. The reason for that is you can actually make the shape itself bigger than 100%. So it's possible that you might need to move it way, way, way off the stage. But we have a little problem here because what we wanted to do is start exactly at the left edge and end at the right edge. So how do we figure that out? Well, the first step is to find out what those numbers are. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to use the slider to move the line. There, I'm close. I'm going to keep sliding it, keep sliding it, keep sliding it. And I see, and it's kind of minus 51. That's where it's off the edge of the stage. Now, if I move the slider again and find the right edge, actually we're going to call this minus 52 and plus 52. So that's an important step. I found out where the lowest number and the highest number I wanted were by observing it, by changing it myself manually inside the program. That's just a quick and dirty way to find out the limits of where you want to go. So now I know I want my line to go from minus 52 to plus 52. Now that's a little bit tricky because there's something else going on that I need to point out. Watch what happens again when I hit letter S. I want you to look here at the horizontal position input of the Shapes actor. It's counting from minus 200 to plus 200. Now that seems a little bit confusing because the output of the envelope generator says it's going to go from 0 to 100. So what's going on there? Well, this is one of the most important features of Isadora and the one that people probably understand the least. But it's also the one that if you understand it and can make use of it, then you go from doing things in a very general way to being able to be very, very specific with what you're doing inside the program.